The actor and his wife live in this Santa Fe gated community just north of 10,000 Waves. The Santa Fe Sheriff's Office filing this search warrant earlier today, detailing why deputies needed to go into Hackman's home and what they actually found when they went inside.
What else are investigators going to dig into? Maybe the cell phones, perhaps? What can be gleaned from the scene? What about at autopsy? And did you hear portions of their bodies had become mummified?
We're back with the Fox News alert. Authorities are still trying to determine how Hollywood legend Gene Hackman and his wife Betsy died. Police said yesterday the pair tested negative for carbon monoxide poisoning, and officials now think Hackman may have died 9 days before his body was found.
The FBI is said to have found a lot of mysterious and secret items hidden in the fancy home of famous actor Gene Hackman, who was known for his intense on-screen presence and highly acclaimed performances. This shocking news has sent shockwaves through Hollywood. Hackman hasn't been seen much in public lately, but this new discovery has made people curious about his personal life again.
Let's bring in ABC's Alex Stone for more. Alex, I know you just got that search warrant. What sticks out to you from what investigators are saying there?
Well, yeah, we've got the search warrant right here, and in it they say that this was suspicious enough that they needed to search the building. And let me just bring you through it a little bit. As we just got this, a detective says that maintenance workers were called to they called the sheriff's department. The deputies arrived. They found a door that was ajar at the home, and then they made entry. They went in. They found a female, Betsy Arakawa, on the ground near a countertop in a bathroom. There was a space heater near her head. There was an open pill bottle with pills scattered on the countertop there. They found a dead German Shepherd dog near Arakawa. And then in a mudroom, they found Gene Hackman. It appeared he had suddenly fallen. They say that his sunglasses were near him, but there were other dogs that were alive on the property, and everything else was locked and secured. No obvious signs of death of what it was. They are looking at carbon monoxide. They got no readings of it, but Diane, they say they don't know why they died.
When police got there, they saw that the front door of the house was open and not locked. Gene Hackman's body was found in a mudroom near the kitchen. He was wearing gray joggers, a long-sleeved t-shirt, brown slippers, and a walking cane. His sunglasses were lying next to him, which suggests he may have died quickly. Broken Betsy Arakawa's body was found on her side, next to a space heater in a bathroom. The face was swollen and the hands and feet were mummified, which are signs of decomposition.
Police are working to obviously uncover this mystery. Can you go over how all of this unfolded and what we know up to this point?
Hey Mugo, yeah, it's just been an absolutely tragic story so far. We're in front of the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office right now, where it seems like the more information we get, the more mysterious this case becomes. Officials were first called out to the couple's home on Wednesday when that maintenance man who you just heard the call from had tried to contact the couple but was unable to reach them. That's when deputies went in and they found Hackman's body in the mudroom. It appears he may have fallen. They found his wife, Betsy Arakawa's body in the bathroom with her head next to a space heater.
And an open prescription bottle were lying around on a nearby table. One of the couple's German Shepherds was found dead in a closet less than 15 feet away from Araka, and their other two dogs were found alive in the bathroom next to Araka and outside.
Officials are also saying they found a prescription bottle as well as pills scattered on the counter next to her, but they're not yet saying what those kind of pills were. As for the dogs, the dog that died, a German Shepherd, was locked in a kennel next to Arakawa's body, and officials also found two other dogs who were alive that were roaming around the property.
Authorities think that the heater may have fallen on the ground when Arakawa did, which may have sped up the process of her body breaking down. This could explain why her hands and feet showed signs of bloating and mummification. An open prescription bottle and pills that were scattered nearby added to the mystery.
A deputy saw a black space heater near her head. The deputy believed the heater could have fallen in the event that Betsy abruptly fell to the ground. And the space heater being next to her could have contributed to the decomposition that was observed by local police.
After retiring from acting at age 74, Gene Hackman, the famous actor known for parts in movies like The French Connection and Unforgiven, lived alone in his home in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Hackman and his wife Betsy Arakawa wanted to get away from the attention of the public and find peace. They did this by exploring the Southwest's peaceful landscapes.
You worry about your health? Are you
I try to take care of myself. I don't have a lot of fears. I have the normal fear of passing away. You know, I guess we all think about that, especially you get to be a certain age. I want to make sure that my wife and my family are taken care of.
Hackman, who retired from acting in 2004, had largely withdrawn from public life, making few appearances. In recent years, neighbors and friends noted that the couple had become increasingly secretive, with their last known sighting occurring earlier this year.
While we wait the official autopsy results in the deaths of iconic actor Gene Hackman and his wife Betsy, we've gotten new information that might provide us some important context into their deaths. Hello, my friend, Perez Hilton here, the queen of all media, the original influencer, and I shared with you all the tragic details about the sudden deaths of the Oscar winner and his much younger wife. Briefly, a welfare check was performed after those in their gated community had not heard from them in weeks.
Authorities have noticed that the couple had been deceased for several days before their bodies were discovered. Hackman's pacemaker recorded its last activity on February 17th, saying they may have passed away around that time. The state of decomposition further supports this timeline.
95-year-old legend and his wife Betsy were found dead in their sprawling estate in Santa Fe. Initial reports said no foul play was suspected, and there was speculation that they were killed by carbon monoxide poisoning. But now, in a jaw-dropping turn of events, their deaths are being called suspicious enough in nature to require a thorough search and investigation.
You know, you have Gene Hackman, who is in the mudroom off the kitchen by the back door, who appears to have taken a fall.
A cane was found nearby.
And a pair of sunglasses. It looks like he fell where he was and he dropped what he had. You have his wife, Betsy, in a bathroom on the other side of that floor where there are pills scattered on the counter and a space heater that's been knocked over, and a dog in a kennel or a crate that's also deceased. And, you know, it's the kind of thing where you could say murder-suicide, but it doesn't appear to have the trauma that would go with murder. You could say a joint suicide, but those things usually come with somewhat of a ritual where people will take an overdose, get in bed together, or hold hands sitting down.
Forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Baden has offered insights into the recent demise of actor Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, in their Santa Fe home.
Renowned forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Baden presented this theory on Hackman in a recent television appearance, saying, quote, "There was no carbon monoxide, and he had the most common cause of death in this country, severe heart disease. So that would cause him having cardiac arrest in the mudroom to collapse right there." Interesting theory from Dr. Baden, you know, being able to trace back the date on the pacemaker as well. Gene Hackman might have been dead for 9 days, according to what his pacemaker showed.
I think, you know, anytime we have two people dead, that's the unusual aspect of it. But I've seen it in the past, and it doesn't always mean it's nefarious. Anything happened. It could just be really terrible circumstances, if you will, terrible turn of events. There's pictures of beautiful home that you're seeing. In any case, I think, you know, he's quite elderly, probably had a cardiac event like Dr. Baden was saying, and I think she probably had something catastrophic, and I wonder if the stress of that then triggered him. Unfortunately, the dog, in my understanding, was in a crate or isolated. If they don't have someone to care for the dog, then the dog will also perish.
According to Dr. Bond, data from Hackman's pacemaker indicates it stopped recording activity. And 9 days before he was found UN alive, suggesting he may have experienced a fatal cardiac arrest on that date. Dr. Bond noted that Hackman had severe heart disease, which likely led to his rapid collapse in the mudroom.
As the latest from authorities indicates that Gene and his wife Betsy were likely dead inside their home for more than a week before they were discovered on Wednesday. And the running theory this week was that they perhaps passed away from carbon monoxide, especially because one of Gene's daughters indicated she thought there was toxic fumes. But yesterday, the Santa Fe County Sheriff ruled out carbon monoxide, citing the pathologist, saying that there was not carbon monoxide in the home and that no carbon monoxide was detected in their body. So now they're pointing to data from Gene Hackman's pacemaker that shows an event on February 17th that is an indication of when the Oscar winner may have died.
We're learning today that Hackman's pacemaker could be the biggest piece of evidence investigators have in figuring out what went wrong.
An initial interrogation was conducted of Mr. Hackman's pacemaker. This revealed that his last event was recorded on February 17th, 2025. I was advised that a more thorough investigation will be completed.
So this means Hackman died 9 days before his body was found. Many pacemakers do have the ability to relay information to doctors, but for Hackman's to not have recorded a heart rate for more than a week, apparently his did not alert those outside his home that something had gone wrong. The other big batch of information we have is from a search warrant that deputies used to gain access to Hackman's home. Here are the items that deputies took from Hackman's home as evidence last week.
Regarding Arakawa, Dr. Bond proposed that she might have discovered her husband unresponsive and rushed to retrieve his blood pressure medication from the bathroom. In her haste, she may have fallen, possibly sustaining a fatal internal head injury that wasn't externally obvious.
Gene Hackman's wife, Betsy, had mummification in both her hands and her feet. One of the deputies on the scene said it looked like Gene Hackman had a sudden fall in the mudroom, just based on what he saw. His cane was there, his sunglasses were there, and we know where Betsy's body was. There was an open prescription bottle, scattered pills on a counter in the bathroom, and what Dr. Kenny Kinsey just noted for us, no signs of that external trauma. Which brings me to a question for you, please, Dr. Banerjee. I want to share with you another part of Dr. Michael Baden's theory here, that perhaps Gene Hackman had fallen first, and then perhaps his wife goes to help him in the bathroom, maybe goes to get pills. Let's say it was a cardiac event. He's theorizing that maybe she struck her head on the way down, had some kind of internal injury to the brain that isn't going to show up on the outside.
Preliminary investigations into the tragic passing of Gene Hackman and his wife Betsy Arakawa found no sign of external trauma or foul play. Initial autopsy reports indicated that neither individual had visible injuries, and there was no evidence suggesting a struggle or forced entry into their Santa Fe home. Additionally, tests for carbon monoxide poisoning returned negative results, and an inspection by the New Mexico Gas Company found only a minuscule gas leak at one of the stove burners, which was not considered lethal.
Initial interrogation was conducted of Mr. Hackman's pacemaker. This revealed that his last event was recorded on February 17th, 2025.
The Santa Fe County Sheriff revealing tonight that Hackman was probably dead for 9 days after being discovered by maintenance workers Wednesday afternoon.
I think that is a very good assumption that was his last day of life.
In an affidavit, deputies say the couple's bodies were found in separate rooms. Hackman near the kitchen with a walking cane and sunglasses near him. His wife was found in a bathroom next to a prescription bottle with scattered pills on the floor. Her body, quote, showed obvious signs of death, body decomposition, bloating in her face, and mummification.
So the extremities can mummify relatively quickly in a hot ambient environment. It's hard without knowing how warm it was or dry it was in the house, but they've clearly been dead for several days, and I'm saying days plural in order to get that kind of mummification. One of the ways of figuring this out, obviously, is from the scene investigation to find out when did they last pick up the mail, when did they last check in with relatives, phone calls, those kind of things, because people people generally will communicate with others during the course of their time, but then you also can use other guides from the autopsy to determine the time of death, or at least estimate what we call the postmortem interval.
Joseph Scott Morgan, a well-known forensic expert, has emphasized the unusual nature of multiple passing happening within the same residence without evident signs of trauma, drawing from his extensive experience as a medical examiner in Atlanta and as a coroner in New Orleans. Morgan noted that such cases typically involve things like external injuries, airborne toxic chemicals, or ingested poisons.
Joining me now is Joseph Scott Morgan, Distinguished Professor of Applied Forensics at Jacksonville State University. Professor Morgan, thank you for being here. So I want to start with, okay, no external trauma, no immediate signs of foul play, at least according to preliminary autopsies. I mean, what sticks out to you of all the details we know so far?
That this is a multiple death scenario. This is not common, particularly, you know, I worked for the ME in Atlanta and for the coroner in the New Orleans area. And Omar, I got to tell you, in my recollection, I've never worked a case with multiple deaths in a single structure that weren't either trauma related, or there was some type of toxin in the air, or it was something that had been ingested.
The presence of a deceased dog alongside the couple further complicates the case, as animal passing in such scenarios often indicate environmental factors like poisoning or gas leaks.
And then on top of it, we have this dead canine as well that was found adjacent to her in the bathroom. And for me, you're going to have to dig deep and take your time with this case, because in my opinion, this is very, very complex.
The affidavit says, quote, "The death of the two deceased individuals is suspicious enough in nature to require a thorough search and investigation." Meaning, after they went to perform the welfare check and they discovered all that they saw, they went and they got a search warrant so that they could thoroughly investigate and look through everything in the house. As for Hackman, they discovered him fully clothed, and they suspect that he may have suddenly fallen because his sunglasses were found next to his body.
Given the lack of immediate explanations, Morgan stressed the need for a thorough investigation, including toxicology tests and full body x-rays to determine whether carbon monoxide inhalation or another unseen factor contributed to their tragic ends. The complexity of the case is heightened by the advanced decomposition of the bodies, which makes it more difficult to identify possible causes of passing.
Does a body that may have gone many days before being found change the nature of a death investigation?
Well, yeah. So to that point, it makes it a bit more complex because a lot of the things that would be obvious as far as trauma goes, initially, particularly at the scene where you've got poor lighting and those sorts of things, you might not pick up on it as quickly. It's going to be to their advantage, and they've done that. That's probably occurring today. Those bodies are actually at the ME's office under the best type of circumstances to examine remains. Secondly, I begin to think about what they're going to be tasked with relative to kind of running down those things that are unseen.
Share your ideas and theories on this developing story. What do you believe could have led to this tragic event? Please leave your thoughts below.